Have you ever felt that lump in your throat, that growing pressure in your chest that seems to have no room to escape? I know that moment when tears start to form in the corners of your eyes and you try to hold them back with all your might. Perhaps you're alone in your room, or worse, surrounded by people, when you feel that first tear welling up. And at that moment, something inside you worries about what others will think, as if crying is some kind of weakness that needs to be hidden at all costs. I know what it's like when you finally allow yourself to cry, that feeling that is both painful and liberating. Your whole body seems to take part in this ritual. Your chest aches, your breathing fails, your shoulders shake involuntarily. The tears come in waves, sometimes as soft as a light drizzle, sometimes as intense as a summer storm. And after it passes, there's that moment of inner silence, that strange exhaustion that somehow brings a little peace in the midst of the turbulence you're experiencing. Have you ever noticed how we try to give rational explanations for our tears? I'm tired, it's just something in my eye, I have allergies. We come up with all sorts of excuses because, from an early age, many of us were taught that crying is not welcome. I remember how many times I heard someone say, "Swallow your tears," or "Men don't cry," or "Be strong," as if our tears were something to be fought, an enemy to be defeated, rather than a messenger that brings important messages from our soul. Sometimes you cry and you don't even know exactly why. You're driving and a song plays on the radio, or you're washing the dishes when a memory comes out of nowhere. Suddenly, the tears come without warning, without asking permission. In those moments, it's as if a deeper part of you takes the reins, saying, "Stop everything, there's something here that needs to be felt now." And that part knows, in some way that our conscious mind doesn't fully understand, that tears carry with them a healing power that no medicine can offer. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to cry when we're very busy? We rush from one appointment to another, answering messages, meeting deadlines, and in all this hustle and bustle, our emotions are waiting in a queue, like patients in a crowded consulting room. Until one day, for some reason, perhaps a sad film, a special song, or simply accumulated tiredness, the floodgate breaks. And those tears aren't just about what has just happened. They carry weeks, months, sometimes years of unprocessed feelings. There's also that crying that comes after a profound loss, whether of a loved one, a relationship, a job, or an important dream. It's a different kind of crying, denser, deeper, as if it came from the roots of your existence. At such times, tears seem insufficient to express the vastness of the pain. It's like trying to empty the ocean with a small bucket. And yet, each tear shed is a small step in a long healing process, one less drop in the sea of your sadness. You often feel alone in your pain, as if no one else in the world can really understand what you're going through. You look at the people around you, getting on with their lives, smiling and making plans, while you can barely find the energy to get out of bed. This feeling of isolation is one of the cruelest parts of deep sadness. But there's an ancient truth that few realize. Your tears are part of a river that flows through all of humanity, connecting your pain to the pain of countless people across time and space. Your eyes, when watery, see the world in a different way. Have you ever noticed how colors look brighter through tears? How lights take on a special, almost ethereal glow? There's a strange beauty in that moment of vulnerability, when reality seems slightly altered. It's as if, for a brief moment, you can see beyond the veil of everyday life. Perhaps this is why many ancient traditions consider tears to be sacred. They literally change our perception, connecting us with something greater than our daily routine. Tears don't just come from sadness, you may have realized. We cry with joy when we witness the birth of a child or a long-awaited reunion. We cry with gratitude when someone reaches out to us at a difficult time. We cry with admiration at the beauty of a sunset or a piece of music that seems to touch our soul directly. Even these positive tears are washing away something, perhaps the weight of the cynicism we've accumulated, or the layers of indifference that grow over us like a protective shell. Do you remember the last time you cried deeply and then felt that strange lightness? It's as if something heavy had been removed from your body, from your mind. The ancient Greeks understood this well. They believed that tears literally washed emotional toxins out of the body. Modern science has discovered that they weren't so far from the truth. Our emotional tears contain stress hormones and other chemicals that are released when we cry. It's as if nature had designed an emotional cleansing system within us. As children, we cry easily and without shame. A small child doesn't worry about hiding their tears or appearing strong. They simply feel and express it, with an honesty that many of us lose as we grow up. Watching a child cry and then minutes later be playing and smiling again teaches us something profound about the nature of emotions. They are like clouds in the sky, passing naturally when we don't hold them back. Somehow, as we become adults, we learn to hold on to our pain, to keep it inside us as if it were a dark treasure. Your tears carry stories. Each drop contains memories, broken hopes, unfulfilled promises, lost loves, wasted opportunities. But they also carry purification, possibilities for new beginnings, signs that you are still alive, still feeling, still open to life with all its complexities. When you allow your tears to flow, you are also allowing these stories to move, to transform, to perhaps find an end or a new beginning. For there is a wisdom in tears that our rational mind often cannot immediately grasp. Look at nature for a moment and realize how it understands the value of falling water. Rain is not seen as weakness by the parched soil. It is received as a blessing, as renewed life. Plants rise, colors become more vibrant, the air becomes cleaner. In the same way, your tears are not signs of weakness, but of renewal. They are like an inner rain, washing away the dust that has accumulated in your soul, allowing new shoots of hope to finally emerge on clean, fertile ground. Have you ever noticed how nature deals with the seasons? In autumn, the trees don't cling to their leaves. They let them fall, seemingly dying, so that new life can emerge in spring. Your tears work in a similar way. They are the process by which you drop what no longer serves you, what is dead or dying inside you. It's a natural and necessary process. Just as trees aren't ashamed to be naked in winter, you don't need to be ashamed to show your vulnerability when you cry. Think of a glazier working with glass. He needs intense fire to transform hard sand into something transparent and beautiful. In the same way, the experiences that make us cry are often the transforming fire in our lives. The pain we feel, the tears we shed, are part of this alchemical process that transforms us. What seemed to be just suffering may in fact be creating in you a new transparency, an ability to see and be seen more clearly, like the glass that emerges from the encounter between sand and fire. Have you ever waited in the supermarket queue, impatiently looking at your watch several times? It's frustrating when you want something to happen immediately, isn't it? Our culture values speed, efficiency, and instant results. But some transformations can't be rushed. Wheat doesn't grow faster because you're hungry. The river doesn't flow into the sea faster because you're thirsty. In the same way, the emotional processes you go through, including crying and sadness, have their own time. Respecting this time is part of the wisdom that your tears want to teach you. The most precious things in nature often come from processes that seem painful. The pearl is born from an irritation in the oyster. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure. Gold is purified by fire. And when you cry, something equally valuable is being created within you. That discomfort, that pain that provokes your tears, could be precisely the catalyst for something beautiful that is being born inside you. Something that, without that particular irritation, without that particular pressure, without that personal fire, might never come into being. Have you ever noticed how we react when we see someone crying? There's a natural impulse to offer comfort, to reach out, to say, "I'm here with you." This reveals something important. Your tears are not just a private messenger between you and your soul, they are also a bridge between you and others. When you allow your vulnerability to show, you create space for authentic connections. It's as if your tears are saying, "I'm open, I'm real, I'm present in my humanity." And this truth invites others to do the same. Perhaps you've observed how water behaves. It always finds a way. If there's a barrier, it goes around it. If there's a blockage, it builds up until it can move on. If there's a crack, however small, it gets through. Your emotions and the tears that express them have this same fluid and persistent nature. When you try to block them, they find other ways to manifest themselves. They can appear as headaches, muscle tension, insomnia, or irritability. The wisdom lies in allowing them to flow naturally, like water that follows its course and in doing so, nourishes everything it passes through. A wise gardener understands that he cannot control the growth of plants. He can prepare the soil, plant the seed, water, and protect it, but the growth itself is a mystery that happens in nature's time. In the same way, your emotional healing cannot be forced or rushed. Your tears are part of that inner garden you cultivate. They are both the water that nourishes and the pruning process that removes what is no longer alive. When you cry, you are simultaneously feeding and cleaning your inner garden, allowing new flowers to emerge when the season is right. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. At first, you fall several times, hurt your knees, maybe even cry out of frustration or pain. But these falls and tears are an essential part of learning. If you never fell, you would never learn balance. In the same way, the emotional falls you suffer in life, the disappointments, the losses, the failures that often make us cry, are irreplaceable learning opportunities. Every time you get up after crying, you're a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more prepared for the next stretch of the road. There is an ancient Japanese practice called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken ceramics with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, they are filled with precious metal, making the object even more beautiful and valuable after it has been broken. Your tears are like this liquid gold. They don't erase the cracks in your life, but they fill them, turning your wounds into golden lines that tell your story. Every moment of pain that you have honored with your tears can become one of these golden lines, revealing not only where you were hurt, but also where you were strong enough to allow yourself to feel. When you're cooking a meal, there's a moment when the separate ingredients, the onion, the tomato, the garlic, the spices, start to transform into something new. Flavors mingle, textures change, and what were once separate parts now become a coherent and nutritious whole. Your tears facilitate a similar process within you. They help integrate experiences that seemed separate or contradictory. Pain and joy, loss and gain, endings and beginnings, all of these can be cooked in the cauldron of your emotions, transforming into a richer, more nourishing understanding of your own life. If you've ever watched the sea, you'll know that the waves never stop coming ashore. Some are big and powerful, others small and gentle, but they are all part of the same eternal ocean. Your emotions have this same quality. They come and go like waves, some overwhelming, others almost imperceptible. And just as it doesn't make sense to judge the ocean by its waves, it doesn't make sense to judge yourself by your emotions and tears. They are natural manifestations of the vastness you contain, momentary expressions of the infinite ocean that is your consciousness. Wisdom lies in learning to ride these waves, rather than trying to stop or deny them. There is a special moment that happens after the tears have dried. It's like fresh air after rain, cleaner, clearer, full of possibilities. Your mind becomes strangely quiet, as if a background noise you didn't even realize had finally ceased. In this space of clarity, valuable insights often appear. A solution to an old problem, a new perspective on a difficult situation, or simply a deeper understanding of yourself. It's as if the tears clear not only your eyes, but also your inner vision, allowing you to see what was previously hidden by the fog of contained emotions. A simple practice that can transform your relationship with tears is to give them a safe space and dedicated time. Just as we set aside time to eat, work, or rest, we can set aside moments to feel. Perhaps 10 minutes at the end of the day, alone in your room, where you allow yourself to revisit the difficult moments and let the tears come if they want to come. Or perhaps a solitary walk in nature, where no one can see or judge your vulnerability. By creating this intentional space, you are saying to your emotions, you are important. You deserve attention. You have a place in my life. Tears have a maths of their own that defies common logic. In emotional arithmetic, expressing pain doesn't add to it, it actually decreases it. Holding on to sadness doesn't subtract from it, it actually multiplies it. It sounds contradictory, but many of us try to diminish our pain by avoiding feeling it, when in fact it is precisely by feeling it fully that we begin to free ourselves from it. When you cry, you're not adding suffering to your life. You're releasing what was already there, taking up precious space in your heart and mind. A powerful exercise is to ask your tears, what are you trying to tell me? What needs to be seen, recognized, or changed in my life? This may seem strange at first, but our emotions carry important messages that we often ignore in the rush of everyday life. Perhaps your tears are telling you that you've been neglecting your own needs, or that a relationship isn't working out, or that an important dream has been abandoned along the way. By treating your tears as messengers rather than intruders, you open up a channel of communication with deep parts of yourself. There is an interesting relationship between crying and creating. After a good cry, many people feel a renewed impulse to express themselves creatively, writing, painting, singing, dancing. It's as if tears unlock not only trapped emotions, but also stagnant creative energy. The next time you cry, try channeling what you're feeling into some form of creative expression, even if it's something as simple as scribbling on a piece of paper or improvising a melody. It doesn't matter if the result is good by external standards. What matters is the process of transforming emotion into creation. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is permission to feel fully. Many of us spend our lives filtering our emotions, feeling only those we deem acceptable, expressing only those we think others will approve of. But this constant filter takes a lot of energy and keeps us disconnected from important parts of who we are. When you allow yourself to cry without judgment, you are practicing a profound form of self-acceptance. You're saying to yourself, I accept all the parts of me, including those that hurt, those that are afraid, those that haven't found answers yet. Have you ever noticed how children can be crying their eyes out one minute and laughing the next? They don't carry their emotions from one moment to the next. When the wave passes, they let it go completely. Somewhere along the way to adulthood, many of us lose this capacity. We start collecting sorrows, holding grudges, ruminating on past sadness. Your tears can help you regain that childlike emotional fluidity. When you cry fully, you are practicing the art of feeling completely and then letting go completely, allowing each moment to be new, without the accumulated weight of the past. There is an important distinction between crying and sinking. Crying is a movement through the emotion. Sinking is getting stuck in it. When you cry consciously, you are actively navigating the current of your emotions, recognizing them, expressing them, and eventually reaching the other shore. Sinking, on the other hand, is like being swept along without direction or purpose. The difference lies in your presence. Are you witnessing your tears or fully identifying with them? Are you using crying as a vehicle for transformation or as an end in itself? The most healing tears are those that you not only shed, but also accompany with awareness. There is an ancient and profound connection between tears and compassion. When you are able to cry for someone else's pain, something important opens up in your heart. The boundaries between self and other begin to dissolve, and you recognize our shared humanity. In the same way, when you cry for your own pain without shame or judgment, you are practicing self-compassion. You are recognizing that your pain is worthy of attention and care, just as anyone else's pain would be. This recognition is revolutionary in a world that often teaches us to ignore, minimize, or ridicule our own emotional wounds. A transformative practice is to keep a tears diary. Every time you cry, take a few minutes to write down what was happening, what triggered your tears, and how you felt afterwards. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns, certain triggers that appear repeatedly, certain types of situations that arouse intense emotions. This knowledge is valuable because it gives you information about your deepest wounds, your most cherished values, your limits and needs. Your tears are like a map of your inner world, and this diary helps you decipher it. Did you know that the chemical composition of emotional tears is different from the tears that appear when you cut an onion or get something in your eye? Emotional tears contain more proteins and stress-related hormones. This suggests that there is a biological reason why we cry when we are sad, distressed, or overwhelmed. We are literally releasing stress from our system. There is a wisdom in the body that our logical mind often disregards. When we feel like crying and resist, we are interrupting a natural process of emotional detoxification that the body has initiated for our own good. Think of tears as a rite of passage. In many traditional cultures, rituals mark important transitions in life, from childhood to adulthood, from singlehood to marriage, from life to death. These rituals help people process significant changes and integrate new realities. When you cry after a loss, a disappointment, or a major change, you are essentially performing your own rite of passage. Your tears mark the recognition that something has ended and something new is beginning. They are the bridge between what was and what will be, honoring both sides of the crossing. Have you ever stopped to observe how you react when you feel that lump in your throat? It's fascinating to notice the little movements we make, how hard we swallow, how we divert our thoughts to another subject, how quickly we change the conversation when a topic strikes us. These reflexes are so automatic that we hardly notice them. And that's exactly where the transformation begins, by simply noticing. We don't need to fight these reactions or force immediate changes. For the time being, it's enough to witness our own mechanisms for escaping our emotions. It's funny how we treat our tears as intruders, as if they had no right to be there. Many of us grew up hearing phrases like, "Stop crying," or "Swallow that cry." And we carry these commands inside us, repeating them silently every time a strong emotion arises. The paradox is that by resisting our tears so much, we end up giving them immense power over us. They become something frightening, a threat to our composure, to our image, when in fact they are just salt water, a simple and natural response of the body to something that touches us deeply. The people who find it hardest to cry are often the ones who need this release the most. They're like pressure cookers without an escape valve, the tension only increases without finding relief. It's no coincidence that these same people often suffer from headaches, muscle tension, digestive problems, and insomnia. The body finds other languages to express what is not being heard. And so we seek remedies for these physical symptoms, without realizing that perhaps they are just tears in disguise, unprocessed emotions that have found another way to get our attention. Have you ever realized how much easier it is to cry when we're alone? In the silence of our room, in the bath, driving alone, walking in nature. There's a wisdom in this. Our body knows that we need a safe space, free from judgment, to allow us this vulnerability. If you find it difficult to access your emotions, try intentionally creating these moments of solitude. Not to force crying, but to create conditions where it can happen naturally if necessary. Like a gentle invitation without expectations or pressure. We are beings of stories. Every tear we shed is connected to a narrative, something we've lived, something we've lost, something we've longed for and not achieved. When we suppress crying, we are also silencing these stories. And untold stories have a strange habit of repeating themselves, of appearing disguised in our behaviors, choices, and relationships. Allowing yourself to cry is also allowing your story to be heard, at least by yourself. It's the first step towards integrating it into your life, rather than being unconsciously controlled by it. There is a specific moment just after the tears stop that is especially precious. It's a moment of clarity, as if a fog has cleared. In this brief space, important insights often emerge, connections we hadn't realized before, understandings about ourselves or situations in our lives. But this moment only happens when we allow the crying to complete its natural cycle. When we stop the process prematurely, we lose the gift of clarity that comes after the emotional storm. Tears don't distinguish between past, present, and future. Sometimes we cry over something that happened decades ago, as if it had just happened. Other times, we cry in anticipation of losses that haven't even happened yet. This may seem illogical, but it reveals something profound about the nature of psychological time. In our inner world, everything exists simultaneously. Your tears are portals that connect different moments in your life, allowing you to process not only what is happening now, but also what was left unfinished in the past and what you fear or hope for in the future. There is a crucial difference between crying alone and crying with someone. Both have their value and their place. Crying alone allows us total freedom of expression without worrying about how the other person is receiving our pain. Crying with someone offers us the deeply healing experience of being witnessed in our vulnerability. Ideally, we should have access to both experiences, moments of private emotional expression and moments of sharing with people who can be present without trying to fix, minimize, or push away our emotions. The journey of reconnecting with your tears is also a journey of unlearning. We need to unlearn the shame we associate with crying. Unlearn the false equation that vulnerability equals weakness. Unlearn the habit of abandoning ourselves in moments of emotional pain. This unlearning doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires patience and gentleness with yourself. Each time you allow yourself to feel a little more, to express a little more, you are untying knots that have been tightened over many years. A simple change of language can profoundly transform your relationship with tears. Instead of saying, "I'm having a breakdown," when you cry, try saying, "I'm having a release." Instead of "I've lost control," try, "I've allowed myself to feel fully." Instead of "I'm being weak," consider, "I'm being authentic." The words we use shape our experience, and small substitutions like these can gradually change the way you perceive your own emotions, not as flaws or weaknesses, but as natural and valuable parts of your humanity. Perhaps you're asking yourself, how do I find the balance? How do I know when it's healthy to cry and when I'm just sinking into sadness? It's an important question, and the answer lies less in how much you cry and more in how. Tears that flow freely, that you allow yourself to feel fully and then release naturally, these are usually healing no matter their intensity or duration. What tends to hold us back are the repressed tears, the emotions that we try so hard to control that they end up controlling us. Free-flowing water rarely floods. It's blocked water that overflows its banks. Our culture values quick solutions, simple answers, and practical advice. But the wisdom of tears belongs to a different paradigm, slower, more intuitive, more cyclical than linear. The invitation is not to fix your relationship with emotions by following a list of steps, but to start a deeper conversation with yourself. A conversation that develops over time, through trial and error, moments of clarity, and periods of confusion. Your tears are part of that conversation, not a problem to be solved, but a language to be learned patiently, word by word, sentence by sentence. All great journeys begin with a single step, and your journey through tears is no different. Each time you allow an emotion to be fully felt instead of denied, each time you honor your tears instead of being ashamed of them, each time you see crying as a cleansing process instead of a sign of weakness, you are moving forward. The path to a healthier relationship with your emotions is not linear. There will be days when you feel open and fluid, and others when old patterns of repression or judgment return. The important thing is not perfection, but direction. Your tears are part of a natural system of emotional balance that you already have. Just as your body knows when it needs to sleep, when it needs to eat, when it needs to move, it also knows when it needs to cry. Trusting this innate wisdom is a revolutionary act in a culture that constantly tells us to get over it, move on, or get well before the natural process has been completed. The more you trust the timing of your emotions, allowing them to come when they need to come and go when they're ready to go, the more fluidity and naturalness you experience in your emotional life. Think of all the times you've cried in the past. Moments of intense sadness, overwhelming loss, paralyzing frustration. And yet, here you are, continuing on your journey. This is no small thing. It's evidence of your incredible resilience, your ability to feel fully and still move forward. Your tears didn't break you. On the contrary, every time you cried and then continued living, you were strengthening your ability to navigate life's emotional storms. The tears you have already shed are not scars, but medals of courage. There is a crucial difference between feeling emotions and being defined by them. When you cry and say, "I'm sad," you're recognizing a temporary state. When you say, "I am a sad person," you are confusing your permanent identity with a passing emotion. Your tears are like clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness, sometimes dark and heavy, sometimes light and translucent, but always moving, always changing. The sky itself, that conscious presence that observes and experiences all emotions, remains vast, open, and fundamentally unchanged. By remembering that you are the sky, not just the clouds, you find a source of peace that exists beyond the changing weather of your emotional life. If we could see our lives from a broader perspective, we might realize that our greatest pains often precede our greatest growths. Just as labor precedes birth, many significant transformations are accompanied by tears. Think of the big changes in your own life, the times you've had to let go of something or someone, the times you've had to face a difficult truth, the times you've had to take a leap of faith. How many of these transitions were accompanied by crying? And how many of them, despite the initial pain, ended up taking you to a better, more authentic place, more in line with who you really are? Tears are never just about the past, they also contain seeds of the future. When you cry over the end of a relationship, you're also crying for the space that opens up for new connections. When you cry at the loss of a dream, you're also crying at the birth of new possibilities not yet imagined. When you cry with relief at finally confronting a difficult truth, you're crying as much for the time lost in denial as for newfound freedom. Her tears mark endings, yes, but every ending is also a beginning. The same water that dissolves the old nourishes the new that is about to sprout. There is a special beauty in people who have intimately known their own tears. Have you ever noticed how people who have gone through great difficulties and allowed themselves to feel them fully have a particular kind of presence? A quality of compassion, of understanding, of depth that you don't find in those who have spent their lives running away from pain. Their tears are like a chisel sculpting their soul, slowly revealing the unique statue that has always been hidden in the rough stone of their experience. Each tear consciously shed refines your capacity to empathize, deepens your understanding of the human condition, expands your capacity to love despite the inevitability of loss. Perhaps the greatest gift your tears give you is the ability to be fully present in the only life you have. When we allow ourselves to feel the full range of our emotions, not just the pleasant ones, but also the painful ones, we are saying yes to life in its entirety. We are refusing the emotional anesthesia that modern society so often offers us: constant distractions, superficial gratifications, temporary comforts. We are choosing the raw, sometimes painful, but infinitely richer reality of a life lived with open eyes and a willing heart. Your tears are evidence that you're not just going through life, you're experiencing it, absorbing it, integrating it. If you look at the great wisdom traditions around the world, you'll find a recurring theme. Transformation requires descent. The hero must enter the dark cave. The seed must fall to the ground. The phoenix must turn to ash before being reborn. Your tears are part of that ancient journey of descent preceding ascent, of darkness preceding renewed light. When you allow yourself to cry, you are participating in this universal archetype of death and rebirth that pulses through every culture, every era, every authentically lived human life. You are not alone in your pain. You are connected to a vast tapestry of human experience that stretches backwards and forwards in time. Imagine for a moment that your tears are seeds. Some seeds need specific soils to germinate, some need acidic soil, others sandy soil, others rich humus. In the same way, different types of tears need different environments to express their healing intelligence. Tears of grief may need the compassionate presence of other people. Tears of frustration may need space and physical movement. Tears of relief may need silence and contemplation. By learning to recognize the different flavors of your tears and the environments that best welcome them, you become a more skilled gardener of your own emotional growth. There is a question that many people carry implicitly or explicitly: when will I stop feeling so much pain? When will I stop crying about it? The answer may not be what you expect. The goal isn't necessarily to stop crying, but to change your relationship with tears. It's possible to get to a place where your tears are no longer your enemy, but your ally, not an unwelcome intruder, but a visitor who brings valuable gifts. When you stop fighting your emotions and start dancing with them, honoring their intelligence, respecting their timing, receiving their messages, a new freedom emerges. Not the freedom to never cry again, but the freedom to cry without fear, without shame, and with a deep understanding of the healing purpose of your tears. Throughout time, cultures around the world have created containers for their tears, small glass, ceramic or silver jars where people kept the tears shed in moments of intense emotion. These tear jars were considered precious, sometimes passed down from generation to generation as a reminder of a family's loves and losses. What a beautiful symbol to end our journey together. Your tears, both those you have already shed and those yet to come, deserve to be treated with the same care and reverence. They are distillations of your humanity, tangible evidence of your capacity to love deeply, to care intensely, to live fully with an open heart in a world of intertwined beauty and pain. And now, as we come to the end of this conversation, I want you to know a truth that has always been there, even when you couldn't feel it. There is a force within you that is deeper than any sadness, more enduring than any pain. It's the same force that moves the tides, that makes the stars shine, that allows a tiny seed to break through the tarmac in search of light. Your tears are not signs of weakness, but expressions of this irrepressible life force flowing through you, clearing obstacles, creating new channels, always finding a way forward. Trust in this force. It has brought you this far through all your previous storms, and will continue to sustain you through whatever storms are yet to come.